what really inspired you to venture into exploring science and the physical world we know?
Well, it's just something very straightforward and very natural. That is curiosity. Everything around you has some clues of knowledge in it. So when your curiosity is high and you are a knowledge seeker, so I think you just become virtually unstoppable when it comes to asking a question, no matter how weird the question might be. So, and there's enormous pleasure in knowledge seeking, especially when you seek that knowledge and you understand it and apply it. Seeing results of all these cumulative attributes makes you want to do more, makes you want to ask more questions. So inherently human beings are natural, natural, naturally curious about things that are around them. So I think that is what the curiosity made me venture into finding facts and understanding things about science, irrespective of field. It can be physics, chemistry, biology, because I believe sciences are all interconnected. So, in short, it's just the joy of knowledge.
Wow, that's interesting to know. This simply means that your curiosity starts with the things around you, right?
The things around me. Yeah.
So, what was the first thing that really caught your mind and you explored it? You
Well,
explored it to the extent that you can talk a lot about it.
what actually sparked my curiosity is um I'm just a fan of an automobile, heat engines, internal combustion engines, compression engines. So I I dig deeper into how the operational cycle of those IC engines, mechanical components. I understood that at that point, science have converged in one place because when you take an automobile as a whole, you have materials that made up that car, which are purely chemical material science. So when you come to pure physics, converting that heat energy to mobile energy is a different branch of science. When it comes to electronics, it is also embedded there. It is also under branch of, I should say, engineering. So a car as a whole, we cannot even say that it's just a mechanical component. All the sciences are converged in a car. Let me give you an example. For instance, we as a human being, we inhale air, right?
Hmm.
So also a car inhales air. The oxygen we inhale help us to burn energy. Likewise, in the car, the intake manifold also uses that air to combust a fuel, which will then be translated into energy. So basically, you see human physiology and how a conventional engine works. There are kind of a similarity. That's why earlier I told you that sciences are all interconnected.
Hmm.
When you want to understand this, it will lead you to that. When you want to do this, it will lead you to that. So it's just an unending journey.
Wow. I am particularly happy that the first thing that really spiked your science inquisition is the car.
It's a car.
The car that is moving in your neighborhood.
Yes.
The car you see every day.
Yes.
So let's consider this as our first topic for this episode
Okay.
of Free Podcasts. The car.
Yeah.
Let's understand the science and the art of car. So, when you first see the car moving, what was the first question you asked?
The first question I asked was, okay, this is a machine and it uses fuel for its energy. So how will that fuel be converted into a motion? It's a fuel.
Yeah.
Look it. But when it is put into that machine, it converts it into motion. So I sat down, thinking how to connect the dot. How is the energy from this fuel converted to that particular motion of the car? So I went on delving further, as I say, with my curious mind. So I get to understand that a car is just a
what?
It's just a machine.
Yeah.
That uses that fuel, as I said earlier. So there are processes that take place within the system of that particular car. So every process of that system is a topic on its own.
Wow.
So let me just explain what an IC engine is. An IC engine is referred to an internal combustion engine, a type of engine that burns organic fuel and converts the heat from that fuel into what we call in the mechanical term cylinder crank mechanism. So a cylinder crank mechanism is a system by which a mechanical energy is converted into a rotary energy. So this energy
Interesting.
can be converted to a lot of things.
A lot of forms of energy.
A lot of forms of energy. The first form of energy is heat. Right? And it says energy cannot be created nor be destroyed. It can only change it from one form to another. So this whole process that takes place within a car to make it move, that I will say is the most exciting thing I have ever
discovered,
get to understand and discover.
So at that particular moment, the whole components of these processes were intertwined in your mind. You're processing it.
Yeah, I go deep down to read facts, collect documents, and I went to the extent of trying to do it myself. Fix up the car, maybe just a little car maintenance, in short.
All right. So now that you truly conceived the component of how cars are made and the processes of cars, from taking the fuel to moving the car. So after you take fuel, can you explain to us the processes of taking the fuel? What next? What next? What next? Or maybe what next?
First of all, when you want to start your car, from the first turn of the key you did before the access. The process has begun already. The security modules of the car, the immobilizer, which is the key of that car, send signal from major components of the car that let's begin to work. It starts by pushing fuel from its tank down to the fuel rail through the injectors into the combustion chamber. First. Then secondly, ignition coil, where, as the name implies, ignition coil, which will ignite the mixture of air and fuel. When it ignites, it expands. So that slider crank mechanism I mentioned earlier is a kind of in a piston engine, slider crank, the piston moves under 90 degrees, perpendicular to the crankshaft. So, whenever the piston compresses air, it will operate on 4 strokes. The first stroke is intake stroke, where the IC engine will suck in air and the fuel in a mixed form. The second stroke is the compression stroke, which the piston will now compress the air-fuel mixture.
Ignite it?
No. It will compress it first. From maybe the compression value might be from maybe 910 to 1. So after that compression has taken place, so there is a huge amount of energy between the piston cap and the top cylinder, where the real game will begin. So that ignition coil will ignite this mixture, resulting in a rapid expansion of air.
Okay, before you continue, what caused the ignition? What is the component of the ignition?
The component of the ignition is fuel. Fuel has reached the combustion chamber, and secondly, that ignition coil, which comprises of the plug, the plug of the car, which will immediately after compressing these mixtures, it will spark. As the name implies, spark
plugs.
So it ignites the mixture. So, and in expansivity, when you expose something to high temperature, it will expand. So exposing this mixture of air and fuel rapidly expands the air, thereby pushing the piston down from the compression stage.
Right.
So the third
process,
the third stroke, which is being the power stroke, is at the point where that expansion has taken place and the piston is pushed down. That is the third phase, which is power stroke. So, and the fourth stroke, which is the last one, those combusted air-fuel mixture must be vented out. So, at that fourth stroke, an in-outlet manifold would open.
Automatic,
because it has a cylinder head which uses a camshaft to control the valves. So, the valves allow air to enter. And at the first stroke, after the process of combustion has taken place, at the last stroke, those carbon-rich combusted air must be vented out because it is exhausted and they are waste. So an exhaust manifold will open, thereby releasing the exhausted air. That is, as you say, exhaust pipe, right? So that is where the name came, exhaust. So that exhausted air will be pushed out through the outlet valve down to the outlet manifold, then to your tailpipe. But what is so interesting about this whole process is this 4th stroke, I think the whole of that 4th stroke happens within a second or less than.
You mean this whole stage?
This whole stage.
From kicking the car?
From kicking the car. So if you will check your RPM on your dashboard, you will see it counted 1, 2, 3, in most cases up to 8, 9. RPM means revolutions per minute. So when you rev up the car to 3, it means 3,000 revolutions per minute. The engine will spin 3,000 in a minute. So you see, if you will consider time factor here, every stroke I think will be calculated in milliseconds. It's not even obvious.
You mean the combustion takes place within this period of time?
Yeah, it is so rapid and very fast.
Okay, so when the combustion takes place, then we see the car moves.
Yeah.
Okay, we want to know that.
All right. All this energy, the car itself is divided into sections or segments, I would say. There's a powertrain, there's drivetrain, there's chassis, and a suspension system. The powertrain, which is the combustion of those the fuel within the combustion chamber of the engine. So you see, it has generated energy, right?
Yeah.
So, but how do we now utilize this energy and make the car move? That is where the drivetrain came in. The engine is the powertrain. The drivetrain consists of the gearbox, where that rotational energy that the engine produces will be channeled down to the gearbox to balance in between torque and speed. So the reason why you always start your car at the first gear is that the first gear has low speed but high torque, enough to overcome the inertia of the car and put it into motion.
Wow.
So as you move down to the second gear, the torque is dropping, speed is increasing.
Wow.
You see, it has overcome, it has become mobile, so it has overcome its own weight. So gradually you will keep increasing your gears, speed increases and torque decreases. So the torque actually is a measure of twisting force. So the heavier a car is, the
heavier the torque.
The more it will require torque to get into motion.
Wow. Now I get the reason why your young age was filled with experience and experiment. After learning all these things, you started experimenting.
Yes, absolutely.
You mentioned things like you started servicing the cars in your house.
Yeah.
What component of this machine really strike wonder? Like, is this really a human invention?
Yeah, it's absolutely about the powertrain, because that's where the magic happens. That is absolutely where the magic happens. Converting heat into motion. So the powertrain is just is nothing compared to anything within the car. It's the heart of the car, where the real chemistry happens. If I would use an analogy, I would say is the lever of the car, the energy bank of the car. So without it, I think there will be no motion because there's nothing to convert. There's nothing to convert that fuel into energy. So all other parts of the car has to depend on that powertrain, since it is called automobile. So without energy, it's not an automobile. It's just become a caravan.
Yeah, I understand. All right, Habu, I see evolution of mobiles, and basically they are categorized based on their performance.
Yeah.
I see AMG engines, I see power horse. Would you explain to us these differences? What makes this engine works faster? What makes this engine powerful?
As I said earlier, the engine itself, there's huge material science has played a huge role in it. You just find out that let me set you a scenario. Let's just take a 6-cylinder engine. So a 6-cylinder engine is a kind of maybe in a straight or V configuration, whatsoever configuration. Maybe engine A was built using high-grade materials. Example of those materials can be titanium, lightweight but super rigid, and the other one may be just an aluminium. So when it comes to efficiency, you would see that those engines are the same, but due to difference in the materials used to craft that engine, variation may occur. And thinking about high-end cars are nevertheless the cost of material to manufacture these kind of cars suggests its price. That's why they are so expensive. So those variations can come from little changes, like turbocharging, supercharging, a lot of technology, and the other one that is even it is not considered even legal, nitros. It's just to enhance an engine, in the performance of an engine. But there are high-end tuners. Let me give you an example with the Brabus. Brabus is a sub-company, a custom company, which specializes in upgrading the horsepower of an engine, upgrading the efficiency of an engine up to 30%.
What is horsepower?
Horsepower is a unit of measure that is quantified using horses, because before the coming of IC engines, horses and caravans roam the streets.
Yeah.
So it is just a universal unit of calculating how much power an engine can produce relative to a power of horse. So that is what horsepower means.
All right.
So, and there's one unique formula to calculate that. I can't recall because I did not visit it.
But properly. Yeah.
So a car is the car, as Jamie Clarkson once said, the non-car people see cars as just a chunk of metal, pieces of wire, and plastics. But we, the car people, believe we can even fall in love with a car.
All right.
That's why I see it as a piece of art.
Yeah. So I shouldn't cut you when you were categorizing the performance upgrade of a car. Let's go.
So, specifically, I was talking about the Bravo steam.
Yeah.
The Bravo steam, for instance, can take an engine of 500 horsepower without altering, with some little alterations, I would say. A 500 horsepower, the same engine, but can be upgraded to produce 800.
Wow.
Over 30%
Performance increase.
performance increase. So they achieved that by, number one, trying to increase the bore size of the piston, replace those piston connecting rods with titanium, upgrading it to use more efficient turbocharger. They call it hybrid turbocharging and variable geometry turbocharging. So, and they even use electronics now
Wow.
to enhance its performance, because it even comes standard with a lot of cars now. You will select in between different driving modes. So that is where electronics plays the role. Maybe you want comfort mode, alright. You move on comfort mode, your mileage will get down because you are not in
Haste.
haste. So when you shift it to maybe sport mode, so a little bit consumption will be high, and the car will be more energetic. So you see, this driving dynamic, where I brought the issue is they have tried to incorporate computer, if I can use this, computer ways to manipulate the engine to understand the mood of the driver.
Some sort of a communication.
That's it. You can communicate to your car which driving mode do you want.
Instead of getting another car.
Yeah, absolutely.
Instead of you to get probably 10 cars of different performance, you get this performance in one car.
You can get this one in one car. Some can even come with 7 different settings of driving dynamics. But just like I think Bentley Bentayga has, I think, more than 5. Snow, Comfort, Sport Plus, Off-Road.
In one car?
More in one car. And it does it very well. Very, very well.
I think evolution of cars has really indicated the highest levels of ingenuity.
Yes.
To some extent, an intellectual achievement in our generation.
It's a very intellectual, very, very intellectual.
But the science of car, the art of car, it constitutes a lot of people in that endeavor, right?
Yes.
Because of the components. I just want to have an idea of who and what are involved in making car. For example, we have this set of people to do this, we have this set of people. Just let us know a bit about.
Firstly, a car manufacture begins from the research and development down to producing a prototype. That is the result of that research and development to result to producing of a prototype, designing and producing of a prototype, testing that prototype rigorously, and the next, after the regulatory agencies have given a go to mass produce that prototype, then We are all done.
Why is regulation bodies involved?
The regulation bodies are involved just to checkmate the safety of the car on the road. Basically, you are not the only one who shares the road. And the car company itself wouldn't want to make a mistake of maybe selling something substandard that might cause an accident. And if it causes an accident, you know the lawsuit that will follow.
Yeah.
So regulatory agencies are there to help streamline safety regulations, roadworthiness of that particular vehicle.
Yeah. So after passing this, then comes the manufacturing.
Yeah.
Who are involved in manufacturing cars?
The manufacturing, before manufacturing a car depends on an assembly line where yard workers, which are the laborers of that particular company, fix up, or I would say tie up. Tie up would not even fit in. Assemble.
Assemble is the word.
Yeah, assemble those prefabricated parts. All the parts are fabricated elsewhere. So factories dependent on long assembly
Chain of assembly line.
Chain of assembly line to get the product going.
Attended by specialties.
Specialties. That is when real craftsmanship was happening. But nowadays, the AI revolution is here already. That all those large mega factories tend to use robots to carry out that assignments, thereby laying off a lot of people out of their paycheck. So in this modern world of nowadays, mega factories and mega corporations have moved to the robot revolution.
Wow. So thank you so much. I think we have exhaustively, at least we have exhausted majorly your period of understanding your environment.
Yeah.
And car was the first inspirations
That sparked everything
up.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining this episode, and I hope that our listeners will want to listen more of our podcasts coming next.
I hope so.
Thank you so much for your time.
It's my pleasure.
See you next episode. Next episode, we would like to bring to people some concept, some intriguing concept in science and field of understanding things. Knowledge.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.